What's going on, Strong Squad? DeMarco here with Strength with Purpose. Want to teach you a more complicated kettlebell skill today. It's the Turkish Get Up. So love that exercise. It's one of my favorite ones, honestly. If you told me I could only pick, let's say 2 to 3 movements that I had to do for life and had all my clients do, it would be the Turkish Get Up. And the reason for that is that it is just an awesome, super high bang for your buck movement. It works on shoulder stability, works on grip strength. There's a lot of core activation. It's essentially a full body movement. You're moving through different planes of motion, and you're going from lying on your back all the way up into a standing position overhead. So upper body, lower body, core, everything's involved. So it's a great movement, and it does so much. I mean, it's just incredible. Just from doing heavy Turkish get-ups for the last 4 months, my press has skyrocketed. I went from barely being able to press 2 28K bells for 1 or 2 reps to being able to hit that for 5 reps, and then actually going up to double 32s for a single, and a good single too. Not one of those reps where you're like, I don't know about that one, dude. It definitely counted. So tremendous training effect and just a great movement. The other thing I love most about it is it's a slow movement. A lot of people come to the gym, they want to go fast. They want to go super hard, and they want to act like they're in a Reebok commercial or something and go super crazy. This movement forces you to slow down, especially when you start going heavier, because if you don't take your time, you go fast, you're going to drop the bell, and it's directly overhead. So you have to show it respect. In fact, most of my Turkish get-ups take me approximately 30 to 32 seconds to complete for 1 rep, mind you. So just keep that in mind. So there's a lot of mind-muscle connection and a heavy emphasis on mindfulness. That's something I'm a huge fan of there. So going to show you it step by step. Try not to get overwhelmed. I want you to really think of this as a little step-by-step method. Don't even worry about your next step until you've really mastered that first step. Okay, so like I said, don't get overwhelmed. And if you get into a future step and you're like, I don't know if I feel good about this one, take your time, practice it. There's no time limit. When I first started teaching Turkish get-ups a couple years ago, it took me a much longer time to teach it. Now I'm able to teach it much faster, obviously with experience and that kind of stuff. So if this looks very foreign to you, just take your time, get comfortable with it, and you're gonna get better over time, okay? First step here. So the same rule applies to this that applies to your clean and your snatch, as well as your press, which we'll get to in the future. You want to really emphasize a good neutral wrist position. Neutral or slightly flexed wrist position. That's going to be your strongest position. I'm sure you guys remember back in the day, if any of you are as old as I am, you remember having typing class. Obviously, I'm sure they still have typing class now. But anyways, they always told you to keep your wrists up during typing and not letting your wrist droop down. Same rule here, because we want to decrease the risk of carpal tunnel syndrome and any other overuse injuries in the wrist. So same rule applies there. So when you're holding that kettlebell for your Turkish Get Up, it's just like you would for that clean, your press, or the top of that snatch. Okay, so good neutral / slightly flexed wrist, and basically that rule of you want to be like Stallone and over the top, arm wrestle the bell. Okay, so really keep that in mind. Establish that first before that kettlebell comes up off the floor, okay? It's gonna keep you the safest and keep you in a good, strong, stable position, and in the future, enable you to move under much heavier weight safely and effectively, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys the first couple steps put together. Essentially, we're gonna get into that position, good, strong wrist position. We're gonna roll into it, press it, get to the elbow, and then every time we take you up to a step, we're gonna reverse it back down, and then add layers on and add steps on every next step, okay? So what we'll do is, I'm actually gonna rotate it. This is how you switch sides of the kettlebell when you're going from one side to the other. Safest way, you never wanna go over the body, because again, if it's a heavy weight, you drop it on yourself, probably not gonna have a good day. So, establish that wrist position. We're gonna roll into it. Now this loaded arm, this elbow never came up off the floor. So like I said, you want to think about arm wrestling. You're just going to pivot off of that elbow. Elbow is still on the floor. We're in a good, strong, neutral wrist position. Treat this kettlebell like it weighs 106 pounds. We're going to use this other hand. I'm going to press it up. Now, maintain strong wrist. Lock out the elbow. Shoulder. Pull it into its socket. That's going to activate your lats, and that's going to give you much more shoulder stability. That's going to keep the bell from doing all of this, okay? So you wanna be nice and strong, just like you would at the top of that press, okay? So establish that good position to start and maintain it throughout. Now, my opposite arm, so my right arm's loaded, so it's gonna be my left arm, left leg, are going to extend out 45 degrees from the body, okay? Now this right heel here, I'm going to use it to push off the floor, and that's going to rotate my body, okay? And then what's going to happen is I'm going to follow through with this elbow. So that heel is going to dig into the ground and rotate me, then I'm going to follow through with this elbow, which is going to get me up to the elbow position. So what it looks like is just like that. And what I want to do here is I don't want to just relax and sag and shrug that shoulder up. I want to drive that elbow into the ground, activating the other lat and putting me into a much stronger, stable position. I could sit here for quite a while. I wouldn't want to necessarily, but I'm definitely much more stable versus if I was here and exposing that shoulder to potential injury, or the neck, for instance. So we're going to drive that elbow into the floor, okay? So this is our first position we're in. And I'm going to show you, basically, we're going to reverse it. So use this heel to decelerate you on the way down. Back to shoulder. Foot's going to come in. Other hand's going to come back up. Elbow straight down to the floor, gently. All right, guys, we're going to get into the next step. So like I said, really focus on mastering that first step before you move on. If you're having trouble with it, take your time and reach out to a coach. Find somebody that knows how to do the movement and knows how to teach it. So a lot of times videos can be a great guide, but if something's not feeling right or looking right, get another pair of eyes on you. I've been a personal trainer for 7 years. I have a coach. I technically have like 2 or 3 coaches, but that's for another video. So don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get back up into that elbow position. Then you're gonna push off with that arm, get up to the hand, and we're gonna do what's called squashing the bug, and then we're gonna sweep the leg under you. So I'm gonna explain that as I go through it so you guys can see it. I'm gonna go slow. Again, the Turkish Get Up is a slow movement. It's not fast. You never wanna do this fast. So I wanna really hammer that home, and I want you to keep that in mind. You don't do this fast. My heavy get-ups and my light get-ups take about the same amount of time, about 30 seconds to complete. That's for 1 rep. So we're starting from the bottom just like before. We're in a good wrist position. We're gonna roll into it. Press with both arms. Vertical bell position, locked elbow, good neutral wrist. Pack the shoulder. 45. Now what we're going to do here is once I come up to that hand, this is my left hand, I'm going to rotate this hand counterclockwise into the ground, okay? And that's going to put you in a much better position with the elbow. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So very slowly we're going to come up, this hand's going to rotate out. Notice how I look like I'm in a much stronger position. Now if I were just to come up with the hand and keep that hand right there, much less leverage, much easier for me to cave under the pressure and under the weight of the kettlebell. So if I turn that hand out, I'm in a much more stable position from there, okay? I could, again, sit here for a long time. If there's any position in the Turkish Get Up where you feel like you can't stay there very long, it's not stable, and that means you're not in the best position that you need to be in, okay? The next thing we're gonna do is this right heel comes into play again, okay? So this hand's obviously gonna stay down on the floor, give you that stability. We're gonna push through this heel, which is going to raise up my hip, and it's going to allow this leg and knee to come under me to put me into a stable position, okay? So just think about stacking. You want to get everything nice and stable under the load, okay? So what's going to happen here, I'm going to set up here. I'll shift my hand a little bit. So here, push off, get that knee under. Notice how the bell maintained vertical position. To reverse it, very slowly, bring the leg out, hip down easy. We're going to unscrew the hand, elbow, shoulder. Boom. All right, guys, once you get to this point, you've actually done most of the work as far as on the way up. Now, just remember, you got to get back down. So like I said, really take your time with these steps, okay? So what's going to happen now is we swept the leg. We got that knee under you. You're in a good, stable position. Now we're going to work towards getting you from there to your standing position where you're standing overhead, okay? So basically what's gonna happen is once you have that hand set up, you swept the leg, we're gonna sit back on that heel just slightly to give you a little bit of leverage to then bring you up into what we call a half kneeling position. We have basically like if you were taking a knee. So you're down on one knee and then the other leg is up, obviously like you're at the bottom of your reverse lunge. Once you do that, you then want to line yourself up. So you want to line up your limbs so that you are at the bottom of a reverse lunge, okay? And then once you do that, you're simply going to stand up and then get back down and reverse it, okay? So there are a couple different methods. I'm going to talk you through it and show you when we get there, okay? So we'll start it back from the top, or the bottom, technically. All right, so once I'm here, same thing, good strong wrist, locked elbow, shoulder packed. We're gonna sit back on that heel just slightly and use that momentum and position to come up into our half kneeling, okay? Bell's gonna stay vertical. Now you're noticing my legs are facing different directions. So there's a couple different things you can do. There's what I call the open the book method or close the book method and the windshield wiper. So a lot of people like to take that front leg, simply rotate it around and line up into a reverse lunge there. I prefer the other method that to me feels more stable, the windshield wiper, which is where I take that bottom leg, the knee, and simply rotate it. And you can make little micro adjustments as needed. So I rotated here. I actually don't like this position, so I'm actually gonna tweak and bring that front foot back. And you can make these little adjustments, okay? The big thing is when you're adjusting the movement, you don't wanna do it while the bell's moving. You wanna be in a good, stable, strong position before you do anything like that, okay? So like I said, I'll show you that windshield. So we're gonna rotate, bring that foot into good position, and then you're gonna drive off the heel and those back toes to stand up. Okay, guys, so we got up, now we gotta get back down. So you wanna reverse everything that you did. So a lot of people will hear that and go, okay, that sounds okay. Same thing, it's all step by step, okay? Whichever arm is loaded, it's gonna be opposite leg back. And then whether you did the rotating of that front foot and knee or the windshield wiper with the back leg, I recommend doing the same method on the way down. So feel free to play around with it and do what's comfortable for you, but just take your time. I always tell people, be patient on the way down. That way you won't get hurt, okay? So what we're gonna do is you're gonna get yourself set up, take that knee down, hit the deck slightly, either rotate that back knee or the front foot. Then we're gonna take that hand and we're gonna slide it down the thigh to set you up into good position, okay? So what's gonna happen is we're gonna go back knee, slowly come down, okay? So I like to do a little bit of both. I go windshield, then I'll move the foot out. We're gonna sit back slightly, slide that hand down the thigh, plant it. Ideally, it should be about a straight line between your foot and knee on that same leg that you just slid it off of, okay? Same position here, you're gonna slowly move that leg out from under you, slowly come to the floor from the hip, and from here, you know the rest of this. We're gonna unscrew the hand, elbow, shoulder. Boom. All right, guys, so that's a kettlebell Turkish get up. Take your time, really focus on learning the steps and practice often. I love to teach this movement. It's a great exercise and movement, and I put it in just about every single person's program, unless there's some kind of pre-existing issue or injury where we're unable to do it. But I find that just about everybody overall is able to do the movement safely. And but I definitely recommend start off with body weight and work your way up. Go into it with a light kettlebell and just enough weight to where you can feel the shoulder firing and everything having to work under the load and having to balance and stabilize. And just slowly progress. You know, don't go heavy super fast. Don't chase numbers. Just like that you wouldn't with a barbell or dumbbells or anything like that. Take your time, really own the position, own the movement, and own that weight before you think about going up, okay? So safety is everything. Take your time with the movement. When you get really comfortable with it, it gets very, very tempting to just start going really fast and trying to be in a rush. So I'm gonna really strongly advise against that. I've done it myself before, made that mistake and dropped the kettlebell. And it's very scary and it's also very awkward because it's very loud and everybody knows what happened when you do it. So just keep that in mind. So really take your time, own the position, own the steps, and own the movement. All right, so want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you got something out of this. Hope you learned something. If you did like it, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up for us. Give us a like. And we'd love for you to subscribe to this channel if you like this content. We're running the 1,000 subscriber challenge. And basically when this channel reaches 1,000 subs, we're gonna select 5 winners to win the following. So I'm actually really excited about this. Basically, it's gonna be 5 complimentary personal training sessions, each of which lasts an hour. It's gonna be in person or virtual, depending on where you live and scheduling and other factors. In addition to that, we're gonna work in a 3-month complimentary program. This is gonna be accessible via smartphone app. This is gonna be free as well, by the way. So basically, this is where you're gonna have a program on the go. It's gonna be accessible on your phone. So it's a digital extension of us, and it has customized workouts in there as well as videos. There's an exercise video library built into it as well. So it's awesome. It's what we use for our clients as well as our online clients. So you're gonna get you're going to get the grade A level of service. So it's great stuff. It's going to be, and 3 months is also a great timeline for you to really get onto a good program and get some great measurable results. So in addition to that, we're going to throw in Strength with Purpose shirt, give you guys a little bit of swag so you guys can officially join the Strong Squad and rep us and become part of the team. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.